Hello and welcome to Rest for Real. I'm Lizzie Lassiter, live with 207 yogis around the world as people are coming into the room. Find your way to the chat. Let me turn on the chat and make sure that you can chat with everyone. And I would love to know where in the world you're zooming in from. That's question number one. And question number two, have you ever done a class with me? Have you ever done an online class with me or a retreat with me? Have you ever studied with me before? Hello from Sweden, from Colorado, from South Florida, and Denmark, and Canada, and Paris. So, what have you done with me? What online courses have you joined or in-person offerings have you attended? Harvard, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania. I've done your online trainings, Oakland. First time here. Welcome. Welcome. Someone who's here from Somatic Strength, someone who's here from Experiential Anatomy. My goodness, 320 yogis. The room keeps growing. It is an honor to be here with you to share Shavasana, which is absolutely yoga's most powerful pose. Mama, Judith Hanson Lassiter, and I are currently writing a book about Shavasana. We have just submitted our manuscript, our first draft, to our editor. So I would definitely say this is my favorite pose. I'll tell you our plan for today. We're going to get settled, and I have a few questions for you. Your way to communicate with me is via the chat, and I will read what you say there. Oh, can't wait to read that, says Linda. Yeah, it's going to be gorgeous. We have the final illustrations of the poses, and we're still working on the last chapter. But what I'd like to do, okay, so my plan for today, I have a few questions for you, and then I have a bit of a thesis statement about 10 unexpected reasons why it's really important to rest, especially right now. After that, what we're going to do is practice Shavasana. And then I have a journaling prompt for us. We'll do a little bit of writing together. When we downregulate our nervous system and shift into the state of Shavasana for a few minutes of deep comfort, what happens afterward is we're able to enter a different state. We're able to access other information that is sometimes hidden from us, intuition, wisdom. So we're going to journal directly after the Shavasana practice. And then at the end, with your kind permission, I'm going to share a few upcoming ways to work with me. If you liked today's class, we're always creating new learning experiences online and in person. And I will briefly share those at the end of how you can end the year with me and start next year with me as well. The very first thing I'd like to do is 1 minute of silence. So sit in a way that your pelvis is tilted forward. That means elevating your sit bones. And I'll remind you, this is a webinar style because we're gathered with 358 yogis right now. And so no one can see you. That's what that means. No one can see you. You have the next 75 minutes to dedicate to turning inward, to, first of all, interoception, which is the real time understanding of what's going on in your body. We're going to take 1 minute of silence. And what we're interested in doing during this moment of silence, this minute of meditation, is simply drawing a line. It's a demarcation between what came in your day before this moment and what we're stepping into with the practice. So I invite you to tilt your pelvis forward, your sacrum actually forward, soften the low belly, close your eyes, and we'll take about 10 breaths here in silence. Blink your eyes open. Zoom gives me a big pop-up when I mute myself to warn me that I'm muted. Like, are you sure you really want silence? So I have a tea with me here. I'm drinking chamomile tea. For our session, I encourage you now as we land in the class, if you'd like to make yourself something delicious to drink, please do. Okay, also, I'm wearing a watch because I'm going to time the poses and the journaling, but I recommend you take off your watch and absolutely turn your phone onto airplane mode. Anything you can do now to disconnect from the outer world is going to support your practice, support yourself going deeper. I always, that's the door out of my studio, and I tie the sliding doors together so that my 6-year-old twins can't come in here. Anything you can do to lock the door, to create a sense of safety, and to frame your experience for yourself, that this is now going to be a 75-minute inward journey. We're not interested in any of the notifications. I would also suggest I'm going to do that. If you have any programs, if you're on your computer, close everything that you don't need that's in the background on your computer, your email, your WhatsApp, so you're not going to be buzzed during the session. Okay, welcome. The title of today's session is Rest for Real, and we're going to do a Shavasana practice. I'm Lizzie Lassiter. I'm a second generation yogi. I always joke that I've been doing yoga since the womb because my mom, Judith Hanson Lassiter, has been teaching for 53 years. So I'm a designer and a producer of online courses. I'm very passionate about sharing this work and holding space for our Sangha, our global Sangha, as you saw in the chat, where everyone is zooming in from around the world. What do I mean by rest for real? What I mean is rest on purpose. And that's what Shavasana, restorative yoga Shavasana, gives us access to. I also live in the real world like you. So I find myself on the couch sometimes scrolling Instagram. For example, that's not the type of rest that I'm talking about today. Um, what I mean here is we're going to enter into, hopefully, or create the conditions for a pratyahara state, which we know from the 8 limbs of yoga, we know from Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. But pratyahara is the conscious turning away from the senses. And it is as if we sink back down and in and away from stimulus. So that's why putting the phone on airplane mode is a tremendously good idea, because this is nothing but stimulus for our nervous systems. As you're arriving here in the Zoom, I have a couple questions. If you're feeling brave, I'd love for you to type them into the chat. I'm going to go back and read through this chat transcript tomorrow. So you can private message me, or you can message the whole group. Or the third option would be to answer these questions in your notebook. I recommend pen and paper because there's a tactile experience in writing. So as you're arriving, I have 5 questions for us to get to know each other. What feels harder than it should right now? One thing you'll learn quickly about me if you don't know me well is that I don't need any small talk. I want to go straight to the heart of the matter. What feels harder than it should right now? Um, yeah, I don't know what Otter.ai is doing. It might be from my side. There might be an Otter AI transcripting thing going on in the background, but that's exclusive to our account. So I wouldn't worry about that, Renata. Thank you for asking. Um, so what feels harder than it should right now? Victoria says relaxing the body due to stiffness. Yeah. Resting, says Gal. Slowing down, being quiet. Lisa says everything feels harder than it should right now. Sleep feels harder, staying motivated, parenting teens, work, my job. taking time for myself. Growing pain in my body as I age feels harder. Having energy, eating healthy, feeling happy, making myself a priority. Financial realities, yeah. Being single, going to work, getting calm, getting out of my cave to socialize. Yes, yes, Grace. Walking. I'm recovering from a traumatic brain injury. Esther, yes, we know you and we love you here. Relationships feel hard. Finding white space to do nothing. Yes, Emily. I sometimes call those white spaces blank spaces. And it's you said to do nothing. I feel that. It's almost like to be nothing. Communication, eating healthy, being intentional for me. There's 75 more messages I'm going to scan. Trusting my insights, staying awake, getting out of bed, releasing, community, being understood, letting go, finding balance, completing projects, taking decisions, writing, stop worrying, stop ruminating, supporting my teen sons through difficulties. Ah, Emma says planning 2026 and enjoying now. I relate to that. Perimenopause, Ingrid, I'm right there with you. Play feels hard, Myra. Yeah. A friend asked me that recently. It was very confrontational. She said, "What do you do for fun?" I was like, "I'll get back to you." Completing tasks, perimenopause, not just doing one more thing. Yes, Jan, absolutely. Okay. So many good ones coming in here. So many good things. What feels harder than it should right now? I want to move to the second question. Where in your life or your practice do you feel under supported? Where are you craving more support? My health not being optimal. Yeah, where are you craving more support right now? You can write it in your notebook or in the chat. Gal is craving more support connecting to others, emotional support, business support. Yeah, Heidi, I see you. Caring for my partner, in my health, my government, three explanation points. Cooking, romance, yoga with menopause body changes, handling anxiety, mm, going through a divorce and missing not him, but having a partner. Absolutely. I'm craving support in getting rid of a particular hip pain. I'm craving more support understanding my husband, finding good yoga teachers. Yeah. A friend said recently, and I thought, I notice what we say out loud, what I say out loud, and of course, what others say out loud is often more clear and can kind of jump out at me. But a friend said recently, we were over and she had cooked an amazing dinner. And then we were offering to help carry things into the kitchen and help load the dishwasher. And she said, "No, no, no, I don't like when anyone helps me." And I thought, oh, what a powerful thing to say. To just say that out loud. I don't like when anyone helps me. And I thought, I almost wanted to stop and look up and say, that doesn't apply to me. I love when people help me. I am open to receiving help. Jennifer's laughing, Ingrid is laughing. Yeah, but I think that's a huge piece that we have to take responsibility. I am also open to take responsibility for all of the ways in which I don't make it easy for you to help me, in which I give off a vibe like I can do everything way better than you, or I give off a vibe like if you're not going to do it perfect according to my standards, I don't want any help. I'm available for receiving help. Question number three. What's one thing you wish you didn't have to do alone anymore? Yeah, Yvette says, I have a hard time accepting help. It's extremely common. Yes, yes, yes. What's the one thing you wish you didn't have to do alone anymore? This is question 3 of 5. You can write it in your notebook or write it in the chat. Cleaning. Yeah. Homeschool my teen, travel, yard work, eat. Yeah, Helen. I would like to find a yoga teacher that supports me where I am and still challenges me. Yeah. Anne also says eating, Lisa, meal prep, cleaning and decluttering, finances, house cleaning, financially, housework. Feeling my fear. To fold those king size sheets, Cheryl. Yes. Yes. The king size fitted sheets I just put in a ball and put into the cabinet. Mm. Chauffeuring the family, food shopping, watching a cheesy film, supporting myself financially, garden work, yard work. Mhm. Putting cream on the middle of my back where it always itches. Yeah. Rosemary says processing grief, walking the dog, going to bed and waking up. Yeah. Okay, question number 4. What specifically, close your eyes for a moment, and not what your mind is craving, but what is your nervous system craving? It's a level deeper. It's on an animal level. What is my nervous system craving right now? Ma, to be held, touch, shavasana, peace, silence, calm, release, dance, softness, hibernation, clarity, hugs, balance, loving touch, safety, not taking care of anyone else. Letting go, safety. Safety is coming up a lot. That's one of the really powerful parts of restorative yoga is that we're communicating to the nervous system on a very primal level through comfort and some of the physiological triggers that are embedded in the practice, which I'm not going to teach you today, but they're all there. These physiological triggers help your nervous system feel safe. So it's not that you think you're safe, but it's that your nervous system feels safe. And that's a really profound shift. What else is your nervous system craving? Allowing to be heard, acceptance, love, to eat less sugar, that it's okay to let go. Leaning into my back body, says Brenda. I love that ease. A cold plunge at Kripalu. Yeah, a cold plunge. Don't underestimate, Christina, the power of filling your bathtub with cold water. I do that. If you live in a reasonably cold place, chances are this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere that the water comes out of your tap when you turn it to full cold, pretty cold. The water comes out of my tap at 10 degrees Celsius here in Salzburg, Austria, this time of year. And that's cold. Like, if I fill up my bathtub with that cold water and get in, I'm getting a pretty strong cold plunge experience. Heart to heart hugs, to be touched and to be seen, hot tub, to let go, holding, cryotherapy, stillness in mind. Yeah. Okay, these are great. Here's the last question. What would support you most in the new year? So write any that apply, or if there's one that's clear. Community, inspiration, structure, accountability, clarity, and rest. All, all. Well, the question is here, Rebecca, what would support you most in the new year? What are you craving most in the new year? Community, inspiration, structure, accountability, clarity, or rest. Oh, doing this every Sunday, says Amy. Oh, thank you. Structure, clarity, rest, inspiration. Rest and clarity. Yeah. Heidi, those are very connected. I, a couple days ago, did a Shavasana practice in the morning after my strength training. And I almost always skip Shavasana when I do my practice. I like to get up at 5 a.m. and meditate and then move, do some asana. And I almost always just think, oh, it's already 6:05. I'm going to just go make my coffee and do, 45 minutes of creative work before my kids get up. And I don't have time for Shavasana right now. But a couple days ago, I said, no, like I'm the Shavasana queen. I have time for Shavasana. So I lay down with a timer for 10 minutes, like between 6:05 and 6:15 in the morning, right here, all alone in my studio. And I had the most profound, I can stop the share. I had the most profound clarity that arose about a business decision, about a retreat that I was planning on doing this year. And some things had shifted in the logistics and the background, but I am quite stubborn. And so I said, well, I committed to doing this. I'm going to keep doing this, even though now it was under different conditions. And when I gave myself that silent 10 minutes of deep relaxation, a deep sense of safety, of feeling held by the props, this extremely clear knowing came up that said, cancel this retreat. It's not till June, like cancel this retreat. And when I felt that in my body, what was so amazing to watch because there was no other input, it was silent early morning. When I felt that in my body, when I held the idea of canceling the retreat in my body, everything relaxed. I felt an overwhelming full body sense of relief. And then when my timer went off, I rolled over, came up to my computer, and emailed the venue and said, is it too late to cancel this retreat? So that's what I mean by, to Heidi and to all of you, that relaxation and clarity are really connected. We're so busy putting new information. I'm, as guilty of it as anyone. I love to wash the dishes while listening to a podcast, listening to a book. I'm always taking in new, new, new. And I think that I somehow believe I need more. And this practice today, Shavasana, is a subtraction practice. It's about doing less. Sanya's asking for me to share the questions again. Yes, I can share here are the questions. You can take a screenshot and then we'll move on. So this is a photograph I took this morning on my walk in Salzburg. This is not my short loop, but my sort of 30-minute loop from the house doesn't include this. But when I do my 45, 50-minute loop, my longer loop, this is the end point where I turn around. So I see what's really beautiful here is these are the first Alps you're starting to see, and then beyond you can see these are much higher beyond, but they don't look like it, but they're much higher. And this is now the beginning of the Alps, and you can see, beyond, beyond, beyond would be Italy. And this is Salzburg, one of the old churches, and then the southern side of the town beyond. So the reason I'm showing it to you is that I was walking this morning and I was by myself in my mind, ruminating, thinking, complaining, judging, all the stuff. Um, and got to this view and it kind of stopped me in my tracks. It quieted my mind for a moment, the beauty of this. And then I had this flash of seeing the image not horizontal like this, but vertical. So I made that for you here next. I saw it, suddenly I had this flash where I saw it tilted. And when I tilt the image, what I think it's a metaphor for me, this really strong vertical line that we see here down the center of the image. And what's on the left side here, this is the muddy water. This is the spinning mind. This is the problems and the planning and the ruminating and the anxiety. And if also I'm kind of standing at a lookout, and if you look down, which you don't see in this view, but I can see it as I'm taking the photo. Below, you can see the busyness of uh, the town, people walking and running, and dogs and bicycles and cars, right? And then everything on the right-hand side here. This is the, we could say, the spiritual side. This is the consciousness side. This is the side where there are no problems, where there's nothing wrong with this, how this mountain is formed. It is the perfect expression of a mountain. and the sky and the light and the clouds. And so what we're doing in Shavasana, which we're going to practice together soon, is we're not denying all of this on the left side. All of this exists and is important, the busyness and the problems and figuring things out. But what we're doing for 20 minutes together when we take a restorative Shavasana is we're focusing our attention onto this side, which means in a non-dualistic way, what we're interested in during our practice of Shavasana is to identify with consciousness. So we're not outside observing and watching, which is the way sometimes it's taught. That's still a dualistic approach. We're instead dissolving into the sensations of the body, and we're turning our attention toward everything that's on this side of the image. Does that make sense? I want to check in with you in the chat. Give me a yes. The tip of the iceberg, Laura says, yes. Does this make sense? This is the central project of what we're doing in meditation, in restorative yoga. Okay. It's not that we're fixing anything that's on that left-hand side, all of that busyness. We're not fixing it. It's not going away. We're simply beginning, we're opening up a blank space to spend 20 minutes turning towards that other side and all of what exists there and letting ourselves left brain, right brain, Jennifer, yeah, is another way of thinking of it. We're turning towards that. Let me make sure everyone can chat with. Yeah, okay, good. So I see a couple of hands up, but I can't help you right now. Yeah, we're not denying. We're also not denying it too. No, we're not denying anything. It's all there. It's all going to be there when we come back. But this flash came to me in this image today. All right, let's go back to my slideshow. So 10 unexpected reasons to rest right now. I'm going to go through these and then we'll do our practice. Rest sharpens discernment. When your nervous system settles, your yes and no become clear. That's what I just described from that experience about a retreat for me. Number two, it reduces false urgency. And a lot of what we feel is super urgent is actually adrenaline, not really the truth of what's going on. I've also, horrors, been experimenting with drinking less caffeine. I love coffee. I love, love, love coffee. But I have been drinking less caffeine. And surprise, surprise, I'm feeling less of that urgency. So in our book about Shavasana, Mom and I, there's a whole chapter called Building a Shavasana Lifestyle. And one of the things we're talking about actually is like, look at what you're putting into your body, like caffeine, and the degree to which that may be upregulating or overstimulating your nervous system. Rest really supports boundaries. It's easier to say no when your body isn't in survival mode. It's easier to say no with a smile. It's easier to say no with a soft belly. No, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. Rest makes creativity usable. Ideas land differently when you're not overloaded. You have more space. Often when I'm in Shavasana is where I get my ideas directly downloaded from what Mama calls the cosmic grid. I just the cloud, whatever the cloud is, it just comes. A lot of what I post on Instagram or my newsletters, it just comes in a restorative pose like Shavasana. Rest improves the quality of work. A regulated nervous system produces higher quality output in less time. I often get asked how I'm so productive or how we create so much at Yoga. It's because of this. It's because we rest a lot. It's because regulated nervous systems are a priority, not hustling. We really support, we make space for that, and it's really important. And I think it helps me work more with more clarity and less distraction. All right, that was 1 to 5. Number 6, rest clarifies priorities. When the noise quiets, what matters becomes obvious. Rest interrupts self-comparison. So slowness dissolves the pressure to keep up and to compare yourself to others. Rest strengthens intuition. This is very powerful for me. You can hear your inner signals more clearly when you feel safe and you're not heightened. Rest prevents conflict. Often conflict comes from fatigue rather than incompatibility. So rest is actually really good for your relationships. It's not selfish. It feels selfish often, especially if you're the nexus point in your home, or if you're responsible for caring for a lot of people in your home, or if you take on that role of caring for everybody in your home. Um, it can feel like it's selfish or even aggressive to like lock your door and give yourself 30 minutes away from everyone else. But it's the best thing you can do because, as I've learned over and over from Mary Richards, our nervous systems co-regulate each other. So when we down-regulate our nervous system, exactly what you're doing in this class today, we return to others on a different, it's like we change the radio station and we return in a different state. And they can feel that, and they can also kind of vibe off of that. One of my kids, my kindergarten, the kindergarten teacher of my kids, she said that one of my sons, like, she can tell when I leave for a week to go teach a retreat. And what she suspects, because he gets a little bit more dysregulated, and what she suspects is that he's using me like an external battery to charge himself and to regulate his nervous system, which makes total sense to me based on what I know about the social nature of our nervous system. Rest stabilizes ambition. This is very important. Big goals require a steady foundation, not burnout. So I'm going to check in on the chat. Can we see the first five? Can we see the list again? May I share this? Yes, Esther, of course, you can share everything. Anything that I teach you, I hope that you share far and wide. Let me go back and I'll show screen one again and screen two so that you can screenshot them. These are the first five reasons that occurred to me. And now I'll show the second screen. Does anyone have anything to add to this list in the chat? I'd love to see if there's anything that rest does for you that's not on this list. Okay, let's go to the chat and see. Gives me more energy. Yes, it's an afternoon reset. It opens my heart. It makes me happy. It grounds me. Um, will you share this list of PDF notes in tomorrow's via email? Sure. I can send this out next Sunday. If you want the recording to this, or if you want to stay connected, my Sunday self-care email is the best way to do that. And I'll show you exactly how you can find that. Um, what you can do is, I'll share my screen and show you to make sure you're subscribed there. If you go to lizzielasseter.com, or if you just type the shortcut lizzie.yoga, it'll redirect here. And then if you go to contact and go to newsletters, this will take you, if you subscribe here, you'll get the recording to this class. You can also subscribe to any of our other newsletters. And I send an email every Sunday. Tell me one thing in the chat that you like about my Sunday emails, those of you who are already subscribed. What do you like about receiving my Sunday emails? Ah, Rebecca says exactly 1 year ago, I was in Paris with you for 3 days and I loved it so much. Thank you. That I'm real, that the consistency, that I'm authentic, that they're digestible. Sometimes people say to me, which I think is so sweet, they say, I love your Sunday emails because they're so short. And it's kind of like, it's which I love. And I like to make them short. Um, but I always think that's like saying, I love being friends with you because we never see each other. It's how I start my week. It's honest. I love the photo. Yeah, I have a fantastic photographer. They're just little reminders, the honesty, and I feel you so much, says Rebecca. Yeah. 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 Well, thank you. Thank you. That's a good little dose of encouragement for me. I love reading those. Okay. So the next thing on our agenda for our class today is to do Shavasana. I'm going to show a simple setup. And what I suggest you do is you support your ankles, your knees, and your head and neck. You're going to cover your eyes, and you're going to cover yourself with a blanket for warmth. I'm going to show the setup now, and then I'll come up and mute myself. So we'll have real silence in the room. And that's what we're going to be doing. There's going to be silence for about 20 minutes as you're in the pose. This is a specifically targeted length of time to give your physical body the chance to relax so that you can turn your attention to what I mentioned at the beginning, interoception, the real-time experiencing of what's arising inside of you on all layers, all of the koshas, and to feel safe, to feel held, to connect with what really matters. So let me show you the setup on my mat. I take a pillow from my couch for my head and neck. I also cover my eyes with an eye mat. Here it is. And I suggest you take a blanket and roll it for your ankles so that the heels are floating because they can start to burn after a little while. So we're going to let the ankles float. And if you have a round bolster, I would use that for the backs of your knees today. If you don't have a round bolster where you are, I would roll up blankets, firm blankets to create that shape. I'm also going to use, I have a heated blanket, which I love. It's from this company, not sponsored, but I do love it. It's battery powered heated blanket. And I'll put it underneath so I'm lying on top of it. It may seem a little bit, the word extreme, excessive, too careful, the way that we prop the body for this type of restorative shavasana. But it's actually all on purpose because when we find exquisite comfort in the physical body, it's a way of signaling to the nervous system what we spoke about before, safety and relaxation. And the animal part of your body understands now that she can let go. So take your time. I'm going to get socks. Any small adjustments are going to be worth it. The practice, the pose, you can think of as already have it's already begun as you're doing your setup. So there's no rushing to get there. Putting on socks, so I'm going to be warm. I have my eye mask nearby. And let me tell you a little bit about what I'm doing with all my blankets. I'm supporting my ankles and then I'm supporting my knees. And then I'm going to take two blankets and wrap them around myself like a burrito so that I feel not just the weight of the blankets, which is a powerful signal to the nervous system, but that I feel held by them. And then I have another hand crocheted blanket from Nico's great aunt, and that's really heavy. And I'm going to put that on top. Adjust your pillow so that it supports not just the skull, but all the way down to the shoulders. And then you're going to cover your eyes. So I'm going to come up to the screen, make sure we're settled. I'm going to mute my microphone so we have silence. Yeah, Jan says the setup is necessary to feel the Shavasana. So I'm going to set the timer for us now. You will inevitably notice yourself thinking. Whenever you do, it's very simple. You're going to return to your breath and not the intellectual idea of your breath. You're going to return to the sensation of breath, feeling the breath move the body, these micro movements created by the breath. Feeling a sense of softening and receiving the breath. And letting go, giving back the breath. I'm going to give you a few minutes of silence now to enjoy your experience of the pose. You are completely safe. You are completely held. You are held not just by the physical support, but by the community of yogis who are practicing together around the world, stepping into silence together. In a few minutes, I'll bring us all back for our journaling. Inhale your breath. Moving slowly, bend one knee and then the other. Roll yourself to the side and press yourself up to sitting. In a single word, how do you feel right now after your practice? And did it feel short or long? Relief from Brenda. Short, calm, peaceful, serene, soft, mellow. Amazing, happy, release, light. Short. Yeah, some of you are saying long, which is absolutely normal and part of the practice. Often students say, I can't do Shavasana because it agitates me. But in fact, Shavasana reveals the agitation that is lurking below the surface when we stop busying ourselves and distracting ourselves and filling the space with anything but feeling that agitation. It can bubble up. So if it felt long, number one, I would look at your setup and make sure that you were the most comfortable possible because we can become restless if we're uncomfortable. And number two, take it as a celebration that you spent some time feeling what was there. Nourished, floaty, released, fresh. Yeah. Checked back in exact at the exact moment you said to raise the knee. Short. I fell asleep. That's normal, Coral. Now we're going to do a writing practice, which is the perfect transition from the Shavasana. So without touching your phone or allowing any other input into your space, I want you to take out a piece of paper, open your notebook, and with a pen, we'll take 10 minutes now writing around these three questions. You don't need to know what you're going to write. The writing is an unfolding, it's a revealing. You don't yet know what you're going to write. Imagine that you're being paid by the word and keep your pen moving for the next 10 minutes. Don't think, just write. Last minute of writing. Turn your attention to the final two questions if you haven't already. So name one unexpected thing that arrived on your paper in the chat. Sala says, this has been magnificent. You're welcome. I do this once a quarter for the subscribers to my newsletter. I love being here with you. And can you write the journal questions in the chat? I lost my picture. Let me see if I can copy paste them from here. Celebration. Heather says, I found myself writing a lot about the battery you mentioned earlier as a family, how important it is for us to be positively charged batteries for each other. Yes. The importance of care. The word expansion came forth in 2026. Yeah. Yeah. More regulating my nervous system. That's what came up for me. Prioritizing, regulating my nervous system in 2026. Oh, Tamara says, I found that I barely allow myself to just be. These are so wonderful. Exploring my relationship with rest. As we close, I would love to share with you how you can work with me. If you liked this experience today, there are a few ways to continue with me. On December 14th, winter rest. Give a yes in the chat or write winter rest if you're already signed up for that class. This helps you to slow down when everything around you is speeding up. So, as we shift towards Thanksgiving for my Americans and into the holiday season in December, winter rest is a restorative yoga class with mom. It gives you an anchor through December so you don't collapse in January and restores your nervous system so you can start 2025 resourced and focused on taking care of yourself. It's like I'm calling this class Winter Rest Practical Self-Care, making sure self-care gets on your list this season. Seeing lots and lots of chats coming in that you're already joined. You've already joined that class. That's so great. Okay, we're also doing on January 7th with the great Mary Richards, Challenging Chair, which is a standalone class in our Graceful Aging series that shows you that challenge and ease can coexist in the body and in your practice. This is one of our thesis statements of graceful aging, challenge and ease. So we're going to build functional strength that supports your real life in that chair yoga class. And chair yoga with Mary is so fun. It's not boring. Helps you feel strong and capable without overworking your body. Then on January 21st, start before you're ready. The second round of my mentorship starts to help you build your wellness business from the place of a regulated nervous system, supports you to create with clarity instead of self-doubt, and gives you community, accountability, and sustainable momentum. All three of these offerings are Black Friday right now, 25% off through November 28th. In just a moment, I'll show you where you can find them. And the last two things I want to share, this is a big announcement. You are the first students to hear about this. We are going to offer, starting on March 5th, a Relax and Renew year-long online training. This is going to change how you live, not just how you practice and teach, gives you consistency to shift your relationship with rest at its root, and offers a long arc of support that grounds you for the whole year. It starts in March. It's with Mama and me and our wonderful team of assistants. It's intense in March, and then we'll move through the year together. The last thing I'll tell you about is my restart retreat in August in southern Italy at a really beautiful vegan retreat center, which is like grows their own olives and makes their own olive oil. So that restart retreat is going to offer you time and space to reset your identity, not just your schedule, lets you hear your own desires again without the noise of your busy life, and gives you a felt sense of renewal, clarity, and belonging. Nicole says these offerings all sound amazing. So the Relax and Renew will be announced on my newsletter. It's not available yet. Please don't email me and ask how you can sign up for the year-long training. It's going to be limited in terms of the number of students, but we're going to announce it on December 1st. It's not open yet to sign up for. And you can find the retreat on my website. Let me show you just two links here. I saw some questions in the chat as well. So if we go to lizzie.yoga and you get to my website, the first thing I want to show you is if you do if you go to lizzie.yoga/props, that's a shortcut. And if you go to the props, oh no, hold on, lizzieLassiter.yoga/props. If you go to that URL, then you have the link to the heated blanket. I'm not an affiliate, but I've just included the link there for you and all of my favorite restorative yoga props. The other thing I'll show you is if you go to lizzie.yoga and you go to retreats, this is everywhere I am in person in 2026. This is going to be an online event with Yoga Campus, and then I'm in person in Utrecht, Montana. That's the Restart Southern Italy, and a restorative teacher training in Paris in person. If you go to lassiter.yoga, you can find our 3 Black Friday offerings here that I mentioned: the Winter Rest class, the Graceful Aging Share class, and the Start Before You're Ready mentorship. What a pleasure it was to share this session with you. Inhale your breath, open the palms away from the body. With an exhalation, bring them together in front of your heart. Namaste. May we live like the lotus at home in the muddy water. So grateful for you, Jen. Thank you so much, Victoria, Mercedes, Martha, Cindy. Thank you all for being here. This was fabulous. Sending big love to you all across the skies. Have a very rested rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you on the newsletter. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.